So in terms of providing that content and value for your clients' needs, as long as you're pretty well established and you've gotten way past the point where you have product market fit, you know exactly what they're buying from you, the price points, how often they buy, all the basic questions around unit economics, then backing into content and value really largely comes down to understanding at the company level who buys, and within these companies who's most important. And then within the companies who's most important, your most important stakeholder that shows up on a decision committee is your primary buyer persona. The second most important kind of stakeholder would be your secondary buyer persona. In some cases, in larger accounts, there could be a third or fourth most important buyer persona. And then for each of those, starting with our highest priority, our primary, we need to understand what's going on in their world. We need to have extreme empathy for what they're working on professionally, what their goals are, what shows up in job descriptions, what shows up in OKRs and objectives and key results, for what they need to accomplish and what their team needs to accomplish and what their company needs to accomplish at the intersection of data center, energy cooling, and infrastructure. And then the flip side of that, not only what they're trying to accomplish, but what's driving them nuts, their biggest challenges, their biggest stressors. And we need these insights in their own words, not what you think their words are, but what their words actually are. And it doesn't mean that 100% of their goals and 100% of their challenges are going to line up to things that you can monetize. It's very possible that energy, cooling, and infrastructure is like a third or a half or two-thirds of their job. And there may be quite a few other topics, quite a few other goals, quite a few other challenges that are located adjacent to what you do, but are still very much front burner for your primary and your secondary stakeholders, the primary and secondary buyer personas that show up on these decision committees. So again, in order to provide helpful educational content, helpful educational events, provide value around their needs, we need to understand what those needs actually are, walk a mile, walk a kilometer in their shoes, and have extreme empathy for what they're working on. And the biggest value we can do in many cases is by introducing